Yo. Okay, so our heroes last left off fighting a Sequence 7 Beyonder from the Demonist sect. At the beginning of the episode, they were known as Triss and became Trissy after consuming a potion from their higher-ups. Unfortunately, Trissy got away, and now somewhere on campus, Klein's former professor is up to something. Using his blood, Mr. Azik draws what looks to be a very detailed castle. His persona goes haywire, and then it fades out. The next scene, the Nighthawks are seen entering the Lamed castle, which looks identical to the one Mr. Azik drew earlier. Elizabeth, a friend of Melissa, has been dealing with a series of nightmares. Klein vividly remembers seeing a castle in a wraith of a night. They didn't bring the goat 2049 here, so instead they brought the mutated sun sacred emblem. Codenamed 30782, it's a device that can eradicate nearby wraiths within 50 meters, and it converts Beyonders into brainless NPCs who can only chant, "Praise the sun." You know what would be funny? Using that on Leonard, wiping that smug ass grin off his face. Too bad they didn't bring him. Klein, using his spirit vision, sees a black mist forming. Dunn jumps in to protect Klein, and as the mist disappears, a menacing headless knight appears before them. This is an encounter with a wraith, and it doesn't seem to be acting in accordance to their description. Dunn tells Free to look for a weakness. As they're struggling to fight the wraith, the emblem gets thrown across the floor. Dunn effortlessly dodges the swings and points out that the wraith's weakness is on his right glove. Dunn shoots in the direction again, but the wraith splits the bullet in half. Klein sees an opportunity to retrieve the emblem. Not so fast, because this motherfucker teleported and elbowed his face. For some reason to Klein, this doesn't hurt. The dreamlike state that prevented the wraith from inflicting pain could be due to Dunn's nightmare ability and the fog's protection. This part puzzled me. The aura lifted and surrounded Dunn right after. You guys can correct me in the comments without any spoilers. The wraith begins sprinting into Dunn's direction, and during that leap, it stops. This is exactly as planned. The emblem activates and consumes the wraith. Also, the emblem didn't turn the Beyonders into zombies because they haven't been around for more than 6 hours. Free and Dunn discuss the wraith, how it's centuries old but the state of the castle seems to be newer, until they discover a portrait from the 4th epoch, about 1,000 years ago, which is probably when this castle was formed. Strangely enough though, the person looks a lot like Mr. Azik. Dunn says that they should alternate every 2 hours to ensure there aren't any more wraiths, so Klein agrees to go first. According to an excerpt he read, the archives show its connection to the sun path, yet he couldn't find any confirmation. So Klein wonders if you could determine the source and decrease the interference by using divination in the Great Fog. A member of the Eternal Blazing Sun is attempting to seal 30782, but he's completely consumed by the liquid. Klein rewinds the bit. Wanting to see up close, he touches the liquid and the room collapses. Engulfed in darkness, a distant light shimmers from his back, and Klein is utterly burned to a crisp. This scene was straight heat. I thought Klein was going to have permanent scars on his face, but the fog heals his wounds. The liquid didn't feel like the eternal blazing sun that he read in the books. It felt more like the power of a god, and Klein was punished for looking at it. Damn, Escanor, is that you? Klein was granted protection from the Priest of Light. It tells Klein not to directly gaze at the gods, exerting extra caution not to get cooked alive again. I don't know if this is just Crunchyroll subtitles, but it says, "A reward for solo tanking the boss for 1 minute and surviving?" Bro, you went through all that pain and agony, and this is how you interpret it. Klein then receives a Sequence 4 recipe. I guess it's a reward for surviving such a fire battle. It's confirmed that the liquid is a small portion of the god's blood, so if a mere human comes into contact, well, you already know what happens. Klein returns from the fog and everything seems to be fine. Free and the captain drop off Klein. It appears that he has a letter. A quick refresher. Epochs represent a period in time. You know how we usually associate them with eras? Like the classical era, medieval era, modern era, etc. The Lamed castle was constructed during the 4th epoch, a period where nation wars were very prevalent and dynasties were often changing. The letter to Klein is an invitation from Mr. Azik. It appears to be that he has more information on Hornasius. When Klein enters the room, Mr. Azik is nowhere to be found. In the corner, something has caught Klein's eye from behind the curtain. He sees this strangely accurate drawing of Lamud Castle. Very shortly, Big Prof appears from behind and Klein gets mocked. Hey there, Prof. You see, the drawing is pretty cool. I was just admiring it. I've been having weird dreams lately. When I wake up, I mysteriously see drawings on the wall. Follow me, Kleiny Poo. Dreams? Thank you so much, Mr. Azik, for the book, but I really got a dip. Read it here. Yes, sir. Klein sits nervously. As he reads, he sees a castle similar to the one he saw previously in the divination with Joyce. The castle was beautiful, and it sat higher on the mountaintop. He also remembers seeing an empty throne that didn't belong to humans. The ruined castle is proof that beings existed there long ago. The page is flipped and there are pictures of humans. Fun fact, they would keep their dead loved ones next to their bed for 3 whole days before being buried. Ah yes, the sweet aroma of corpses. God, that is disgusting. However, Mr. Azik points out that there are no signs of human life in this area. No corpses to be found. They vanish without a trace as if they never existed in the first place. Mr. Azik tells Klein about the ruler of Evernight, the mother of the sky. The people that live there used to worship her, and Klein is thinking that maybe she could be related to the nation of Evernight and the Evernight goddess. Puzzled, Mr. Azik points out that Klein hasn't touched his coffee. The coffee tastes too bitter, so Klein places 2 lumps of sugar. Before I continue, the pay must be really good to be animating at this quality. It's like I'm seeing this firsthand. The detail and everything is phenomenal. I wanted to narrate this episode, but it's very hard to just sit still watching and not appreciate what I am seeing. Also, while editing, I wanted to hear the episode 1 English dub, and the British accent really fits the show so well.
Behind the suicides is to be feared.
Oh, you normally only get 1 lump of sugar. That freaks the shit out of Klein Moretti. So it turns out Mr. Azik has also been doing mysticism lately, and he states that Klein's fate has irregular fluctuations. These fluctuations give off a small sense of danger, but what seems to be confusing to Mr. Azik is the weird fluctuation points to him. This turns into an interrogation. Klein is clearly nervous and his professor has picked up on all of his fear signals. You've never been this afraid around me, so that means you know some of my secrets. Don't worry. False alarm. All Azik Edgar's wishes for is to learn about his past. So back to the castle we go. Mr. Azik has always been kind to Klein, but you know our MC doesn't take any chances. Before entering the castle, Klein does divination in the Great Fog. If he tells Mr. Azik about the situation in the castle and doesn't tell the Nighthawks about his second visit, Mr. Azik may save him in the future. Klein calls Mr. Azik a relic, which translates to a lump of ashes. As they walk through the area, Azik feels deeply nostalgic. More importantly, he tells Klein about a child he once had. The boy carried a sword bigger than his body and loved to play in the castle. This boy grew up to be a knight, and that knight was the wraith that the Nighthawks fought earlier. Azik walks up ancient steps and there lies a sword. He pulls the sword out of the ground and a gust of wind surges the area. Rocks begin to fly, the atmosphere shifts, and the ruined castle repairs itself to its former glory, temporarily. After seeing his son, Azik reverts to the dream. His consciousness has to be somewhere. Klein checks up on him and he doesn't respond. Man, don't leave him hanging like that. The floor opens and Klein gets a whiff of evil spirits purifying his sense of smell. Delicious. If my coffin doesn't look this fire, I'm not dying. The cover is removed and inside is none other than his son. Azik's aura knocks Klein back and the spirits gather to Azik. It locks into a flashback of Azik being burned alive. They thought he was dead, but these fools have never heard of immortality before. The coldest professor to set foot in this world, the one-man army. Azik rushes and hacks away at the soldiers. He steamrolls through all of them before he gets cornered. The soldiers and their steeds begin levitating. 2 arms of pure bones crushes the soldiers. Out from the ground, a massive skeleton the size of a titan attacks on the soldiers. Azik rushes alongside his skelepanion. Never would I think that war could look so beautiful. Not wishing for that in real life, please no. God no. Azik was granted the title Grand Baron of Lamed for his hard work on the battlefield, a first-class Augustus medal, and he finally gets to live the rest of his days with his family. His family. His wife becomes sick and the curse seems to be affecting his loved ones. Azik leaves everything behind. Everything but his blade. The curse of immortality is very cruel. Klein wakes Azik from his dreams. A sorrowful Azik tries to find who severed his son's head. The blood directs to Klein. They're sent somewhere and a bunch of skulls drop after opening the gate. The head could not be found. The blood directed itself to Klein due to his overwhelming power. Klein didn't behead his son, thankfully, otherwise his head would have been beheaded that night. The episode was very emotional. The characters are great, and to my surprise I never thought they would dive into Azik's story so well. He reminds me a lot of Professor Snape, and these archetypes are so multi-layered you can't really get conclusive evidence from them. Azik felt very intimidated by this episode, and after learning about his motives, his desire to learn who he was left an impression on me, and made him very likable. What are your thoughts on this episode? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.